Hi Alberta, hi everyone, my name is Mélanie and I'm really pleased to welcome you into my tiny studio here in Montreal. I'm French, but I'm also a composer, a sound designer, sound engineer and an Ableton certified trainer. So today we're gonna talk about soundscape and spatialization. But first of all, I have a few things to say. The first thing is thank you to the organization of the Alberta Electronic Music Conference to maintain an event, even if it's online, but we need it so much. We need to stay creative in those weird times. So I hope it will help to inspire you. And also I want to say that this presentation is recorded for several reasons. The first one is my English. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's less good. So I want to be able to make some cuts here and there if it's not good enough. And the main reason, in fact, it's because I wanted to be super available with you in the chat. So I mean, you can have two me's right now. You have me in the video and I'm also with you in the chat. So don't hesitate to ask me anything about what I'm doing, about what I'm not doing, about maybe weird things that might happen during this presentation. I'm totally open for any questions. That said, I just want to explain a bit what is today's program. So first of all, I want to try to describe a bit what is a soundscape. I want to tell you where the term soundscape comes from and to talk a bit about spatialization. And maybe I have a few composers I would like to make you listen to, because I think it's important to see how soundscape is used in music, and you'll see that it's not just one genre, it's really wide. That makes it really interesting. After that, I want to take you into my Ableton Live project. I have two compositions I made lately that I want to explain a bit to you. So the first one, it's a piece of music I made from recordings of Lisbon. So Lisbon is a really nice city in Portugal, but I became completely obsessed by their old tramways. They are from the end of the 19th century, so you can imagine all the weird noises and things that can happen in those little tramways. The second one, so for this one I will explain how I've built a soundscape from my recordings, which is kind of an imaginary soundscape. It's not a real soundscape, and we'll see the difference between a natural soundscape, an electronic soundscape, and the second work I want to show you, it's my last work, which was quite a challenge because I've decided to make all the sounds for this composition from a silent sample. So basically I've recorded 5 seconds of digital silence, which means I just pressed record with nothing plugged into the input, and then I walked by the window, I came back, it was done. And then I used many techniques to make some sounds happen from it, but it's not the topic of this discussion today. But the thing is, I've composed this piece with 8 loudspeakers. So I was in the studio with 8 speakers, and while I was composing, I could send this or that sound into, I don't know, where I wanted. Unfortunately, the studio I was working in was closed from, I would say, mid-March, so I had to end this work at home. Here I just have a quadraphonic system, so 2 speakers behind me, 2 speakers in front of me. Don't worry, for today you don't need 4 speakers or 8 speakers to listen to the music I'm gonna play. You just need your best pair of headphones, so if it's not the case, please grab the best pair of headphones you have in your house and put it on. The thing is, for this particular work, I want to show you the tools I've used to spatialize the sound, and we'll see that there is a wonderful option called binaural, so it means you could hear a bit what I've done with 8 speakers just with your pair of headphones. So let's start, and let's start by a good question. A soundscape is basically the experience of an acoustic environment around us. It's a set of sonic events that take place in a space and a duration. During a soundscape, we hear different sounds. First, we have what we called the significant sounds, which means they are the sounds that make sense, maybe the sounds that indicate really clearly where we are. And we also have the space. We can hear the space around us. Maybe we can hear some reverb, and it indicates us how big is the room, how deep is the forest, or I don't know. There are two really important notions, the notion of background and the notion of foreground, and I will get back to it during the presentation in live. Also, it's the relationships between those sounds, which are really important, and that makes us understand the soundscape. Well, it was originally coined by Michael Thorsworth in 1969. He was a student at that time, but the term was especially popularized by Murray Schafer from 1972. At that time, he was making the World Soundscape Project called the WSP, maybe you've heard about it, which was an educational and research. The World Soundscape Project was an educational and research group, and they were trying to draw people's attention to their sonic environment. In fact, Murray Schafer thought the 60s was the noisiest decade he had experienced, so he decided to become interested into what he called the sonic pollution. He wrote a really wonderful book called, it's a French version, but it's in English, The Tuning of the World. If you like soundscape, or if you are interested in your sonic environment, it's a good book to read. And this group of research, they made a lot of recordings. One of their biggest projects was to record the Vancouver Harbor for during 30 years and to see the evolution of the sonic environment. Yes, Murray Schafer is Canadian, and you can be proud, guys. He made a lot for soundscape. I have to tell you that at the beginning it's not an artistic process. It's more or less a branch of ecology, so it's more a political movement, and slowly it became more and more musical. But at the beginning, it's really a reflection of how the noise and the sound pollution can affect us, and yeah, to draw people's attention on their sonic environment. Well, it's a way to process audio and give the listener the impression of a three-dimensional environment. The spatialization can be of two kinds. The first one would be virtual, so it means by using some sounds techniques, you can give the illusion that sounds are emerging of an imaginary environment. And the second one could be physical, so it means you use multiple loudspeakers all around the audience to create an immersive environment. The convergence of both are really interesting to create rich sonic environment. I want to make you listen to a few composers that I love, composers who are really interesting in the way they work, and also it's like a brief history of what happened with soundscape into music. First, I have a magnificent quote from John Cage. If you don't know John Cage, please check him out. He was a really great American composer and pioneer. He said, "Music is always going on all around us, and if only we were to stop to listen to it, we would realize it." That's why he wrote, maybe you've heard of it, or maybe you cannot hear it, but he wrote 4 minutes 33 seconds of silence, which the interest of that was to make the audience listen to their sonic environment, which was really smart. It wasn't just a joke, it was also really smart. So the first thing I want you to listen, I hope you have your headphones on your heads. It's a song. I don't know if we can call this a song, but it's a piece of music called Presque Rien. In English, it means almost nothing, and it was written by Luc Ferrari, who was a French composer and pioneer who was working with the GRM, which is the Groupe of Recherche Musicale, Group of Musical Research, I guess, in France in the late 50s. And well, I just let you listen to it, but I have to say that it's not a natural soundscape. Well, it sounds like a natural environment, but it's not. I mean, of course, he recorded a lot of sounds around his house in Yugoslavia at the time, but it's a studio work. It means everything was edited, cut, back in the days was on tape, but it's a big work of editing. It's not just putting a microphone in front of his house and just waiting. He made some movement, he created some virtual scenes happening. That's why I thought it was really interesting. The second artist I want you to listen is Hildegard Westerkamp, who is a Canadian composer, radio artist. She came from Germany a long time ago. I think she was 20. And this piece is called Beneath the Forest Floor, and what is funny is that all the sounds you're going to hear come from really old forest in British Columbia, so not that far, where there are some beautiful and old cedars that are like 1,000 years old. And she tried to make the audience listen to the spirit of the forest. Right now, I want you to listen to Natasha Barrett, which is a British contemporary music composer who lives in Norway, I think, right now. And I think the most interesting thing in this piece is the ambiguity between recognizable and non-recognizable sounds. And that's why we can feel a bit lost sometimes. So you can hear also it's a most recent work, and it's pretty interesting how she combined natural sound and more electronic sound. Now let's listen to Deep Chord. Deep Chord is a Detroit-based electronic producer and is well known for his work in dub techno. He adds a lot of soundscape to his music, which make it more organic, more alive in a way. Let's listen to Glow. It's from the Summer album in 2012. Let's listen now to Joan Atkins and Moritz van Oswald with a track called Electric Garden from the album Borderland, released in 2013. And finally, I want to show you the work of Apostolos Loufopoulos, who is a Greek composer and teacher, and he made a really beautiful work called Deep Forest. Well, now it's time to go to Ableton Live. We know now what is a soundscape, where it comes from. We've listened to a few artists who use soundscapes in their work, and now it's my turn to show you what I do with soundscape and how I use them. So first of all, I want to dive with you in a piece I composed last year called Fragment d'un voyage immobile, which I don't know the translation in English, but would be something like fragment of a non-moving journey. That doesn't make sense, but it's the title of a really good book from Fernando Pessoa, who was a wonderful Portuguese writer and poet. And so it's the story I was telling you earlier. It's all about the tramways sounds of Lisbon. And there's a part in the song where I'm trying to build a quiet ambience, atmosphere of the city with, it's like a dream, and the girl in Lisbon, like was me, was dreaming about tramways everywhere, and we'll see how I built this kind of atmosphere right now. So I'm going to show you how I've built the soundscape you've just heard. So you have to know that just before this ambience part, we come from a very buzzy part, which is really cut and strong like this. So I wanted to break this buzzy part and to land into the atmosphere part. So I wanted a big change, a big contrast between those two parts. So I've started really slowly here. So this is the project. There are a lot of groups that I made to stay organized because I have a lot of tracks, so I can really get lost easily. So you can have an overview of the project here, which I think, okay, there is 129 tracks in the project. So the part you just heard seemed pretty simple. It is, but there are a lot of tracks. So I'm gonna show you step by step how I did to build this part. The first thing is I like to start with the background, so to have something to build on. So I've started with the ambience here. So the little trick is that I had to duplicate my ambience because I didn't record enough in Lisbon. I mean, enough in the streets. I've recorded tons of things from the tramways, but I don't know why I didn't think I would need some street atmosphere. So I just add basically one or two, and this one is really good. So what I had to do is to duplicate 4 times this ambience to make it a bit more full. So you can see this event, it's the same event in the 4 tracks. So I've just duplicate those tracks and delayed them. It's a little bit like cheating, but let's listen just this. So that would be the background of everything. And then I have 3 tracks here of what I've called add-ons. It's just basically a few street sounds that I have isolated, and I've put them at specific spaces. So you have like this. Oh, this actually, it was the bird just under my windows where I was staying. It really bothered me the whole time, so I've recorded it. And I have also some bells from a church. So it's like another part of the city. So it's really unnatural because I have in the same at the same moment I have at least three places of Lisbon at the same time. I think I have some street tramway. Okay, so if we listen to this entirely, so you can hear the add-ons. And some voices and some noise of the street. Then the second part, because it is a dreamed atmosphere, is to add some electronic ambience. So I've built here in the red part some electronic atmosphere. So you have ostinato. Here it's another LFO fuzzy sound. Those sounds, I've made them actually with the sound of the tramway. So it's funny, I don't remember how I did it. It was like 8 or 9 months ago. So some really sustained sound to feel the atmosphere a bit, and with some specific sound around here which are like a melody. So those 3 tracks are in solo. If I just put the group in solo, and I've tried to imitate a bit the rhythm of the tramway just by using an LFO here and with a great stereo panning too. So I think it's funny if we listen the ambience, only the ambience and the electronic. And you have the melody coming. So that now you know it's a dream. It's not only a natural ambience or soundscape. I've added a bass. There are a lot of automation on this bass. You can see. Oops. And also automation. Oops, on the EQA, just to make the bass a bit less static, and it brings some depth to the soundscape right now. So if we listen the 3 of them, so now it's a dream becoming a nightmare a bit, at least a weird atmosphere, and something definitively deeper. And then so I have now the basis of the track, and now I can have fun and build upon this. So I have a group called Tram, which is for the tramway, and you see I've cut a lot of little sounds, and just to make the tramway appear here and there. There are a lot of automation on the pan here, and let's listen to a few of them. I don't remember everything. Nice. That's the break of the tramway. You know, the tramway is really singing. Nice. What do I have here? just a tramway passing by. You've heard the automation with the panning. On this tramways sound, there is a lot of reverb. There is a lot of EQ I've made before, so that it's kind of weird. It's not the real sound. It's just like a little appearance here and there. Well, we're not going to listen to everything, but if we listen to the group, the tramway group. There are some voice also from the tramway. So I think it's funny. And then I've added some voice that I wanted to make a build up at the end with a lot of voices. I'm in my dream, so there are a lot of people talking around. It's buzzy. It's yeah, a lot of sounds everywhere. So I wanted to make a build up through the end. And then what I've done, I've used obviously some voices I've recorded in the tram. For those who speak Portuguese, and then I wanted to add, because it was hard to have some people really speaking close to me, I wanted something closer to the listener. So I've just recorded myself while I was speaking really slowly. So it was just to have this little and it works actually with the voice. Here's the tram. Bass. So that's pretty much it for this. It's a lot of tracks. It's a lot of question, a lot of things I've been recording and cutting, editing. I've used here also some voices and noise from the tram also. Some noise here and there from the tram. If you see these parts are just those are the same sounds. In context, it just adds some reality to the whole soundscape. So we can now have a full atmosphere of Lisbon, and that's it for this project. So that's it for our journey into Lisbon. I hope you liked it. It's time now to dive into the second project, which is called The Song of the Machine, which is an exploration of the inside of a computer. So you can picture yourself that tiny, and you can, go into a computer and walk between a CPU, some electronic weird circuit, etc. So the part of the song I want to show you, it's a part when we walk into a computer and you can hear a lot of click here and there, a few short sound events that happening, you don't know exactly where, and that are moving around the space. So for this I want to show you some specific tools I've used for the composition. They are called Envelop For Live. They are totally free and open source, and it's really useful to create beautiful sonic environment. Let's go. For my piece, The Song of the Machine, I've used a few tools called Envelop For Live, and that can really help to create an immersive soundscape. So you can go to their website first. It's called envelope.us, and you will know that actually the company owns real venues in San Francisco and Salt Lake City, and they create immersive listening spaces. If you go into the software here, you will have more details about what are those tools. And so they say it's a free open source immersive audio production tools that work with Ableton Live 10, and because you need Max for Live. And you can go to the download page, and I want to show you the documentation page because it's really well done. And if you want to get started and try, it's really at that place you will find some documentation. So every devices are here, and I'm gonna show you a few of them and how to set up Envelop in Live to make it work correctly. So let's go into Live right now. So the first thing I want to show you is that the more useful thing is to put this into your places here to make, so you need to click on add folder here. And every device then appears here. The first thing you need to do is to create a track, an audio track, empty, where you're gonna put the master bus right here. This device is made to encode and decode the multi-channel thing. So the decoder here is on binaural, as we are going to listen to this through our headphones. But if I work, usually I've worked into an octophonic studio, I would be in octo, and then I would do my routing right here. Right now I don't have the good audio interface, so I don't have 8 outputs for this. So let's go back to binaural. You see you have 2 binaural choices. It's really a matter of flavor. It's just a matter of taste. So let's go with the binaural one, which is here. And then you can, and then you can add some devices to create some ambisonics sounds. So here I just want to start by showing you the devices with panner in their names. So you can see you have mono panner for mono sources, quad panner, source panner, and stereo panner. So the first one I've used is the source panner, and you can see this round is in fact a view from the ceiling, kind of. And you have to be familiar with what it's called the polar parameters, which is the azimuth first. So it's an horizontal plane. you have the elevation, so that goes up to the ceiling, and the radius, which is the length of your space. So it means you can make objects, sound objects come closer or go further. It's really interesting in this very special sound. So I'm gonna put this in solo, but I don't have to forget to have the E4L master bus in solo also. If I don't have this, I won't hear anything. So I have this. I can choose to move it around. So I could easily, with automation, make things move around me and make them closer. So what I want to achieve here is something really close, and then to push it further as the sound goes ahead. So I will need to make some automation until it's close. I can make it higher. And then make it maybe turn. A parameter I really like is the spread, because it's gonna enlarge our stereo. So let's try something with the automation right here. So I enter the mode of automation with this little button or the shortcut A, and I'm gonna start right here. So I'm gonna put this, oops, like this, and just make an automation. But what I wanted to do is to have the thing closer to me, and I want to spread it also a bit. So let's try this. It's kind of crazy, right? I just didn't want the azimuth to move that. So let's delete the automation. I would say it's pretty cool. I mean, even if an headphone, we can really hear the difference. You also have the stereo. I just need this in solo. The stereo panel, which is pretty much the same thing, but you have a bit more options, like 2 LFOs, for example. I'm gonna turn this off for the moment. You still have the view from the ceiling, and this other view is how could I say that, a view from the side, so you can see the elevation, so the sound can go up. Here, what do I want to do? I have a little sound. Yeah, it could be cool to use the LFO right now. So this LFO is for the azimuth, and this one is for the elevation. So what I want to do is just to make the azimuth move. So I'm gonna enable this. You have 2 options for the LFO, which is cycle, so it's turning around, and sinus, which is like swinging from one side to another side. So let's try this one, and I'm gonna automate the spread to enlarge my stereo perception like this. Oops. Well, I think it's quite funny. And I also have on this other track I'm just gonna put the solo here. I have a quad panner, which is another panner, but this time into a quadraphonic system. And here I've already done the settings with a spread very large and two LFOs on the azimuth, as you can see, and on the elevation. You can see that here, that it goes up and down and up and down. So let's listen to this. Well, it works really well. You really have the feeling to be into something, and that was really the point here. I wanted to make us feel like we are walking into a computer, and there are some clicks and some weird things happening. That's it for the panners, and then on this track, what I want to do is to drag and drop a Brownian delay, which is a pretty cool delay. As you can see here, so it's always the same two views, from the ceiling and from the side, and you can have a box kind of where the delays, the repetitions are going to be placed in the space, so you can really make them move around, and you can choose the random spaces with the parameter step right here. So I have a dry wet, okay. I'm gonna shift the frequency all the way up because I don't want the dry signal and the wet signals to be the same. I want to make them pretty distinct. And one other thing which is funny here, it's you can move to the pie mode, and then you have a kind of a pie, and you can move it around. You can enlarge the size, and that's for the elevation. So let's try something with that. I want something to go from behind and then just enlarge, and with a bit more random thing. Okay, so let's automate the size here. I'm gonna select this and just move the automation. Maybe I can curve a bit with Alt. Pretty interesting, right? I just wanted to move a little bit more, so I just want to delete this automation, and maybe I want to be able to make some movement like this. So let's try something. And then maybe open the size and automate the elevation a bit right here. It's quite fun. And another delay I use a lot, it's the multi delay right here. So this is really, you can really have options for the repetition. So let's put this in solo. Don't forget the E4L master bus. And I just isolated some clicks here and there, and I put some delays. You can hear how they going to follow and make a whole circle around me. I think it's really fun, and you can also play with the azimuth. So let's say for this one it's good. For this other one I would change and reverse and then do the contrary here, so you will have several different effects. I should need to stay a bit like this. It's really loud. I think this one and this one are the same, right? This one and this one are the same, right? So I'm just gonna take this to make something a bit different, maybe like this. So I hope at home you can feel in your headphones how it's moving. And the last thing I want to show you is that you can actually have several devices after one another. So you just have to watch out here. You see my Brownian delay. It goes to the master right now, and it doesn't go into my E4L or reverb. So I just click on this, and then you see it's a chain. So it means the sound of my Brownian delay now goes into the reverb. So let's listen to this. I forgot to put this in solo, obviously. Oh, I know. You see the mistake here? There was maybe another device, but I need to send this to my master bus. Yes, it's done. It should be working now. So it's this one. Really beautiful spatial reverb here with the Brownian delay, which I want to add some randomness a bit and maybe make it less wide, just to add some space, some room around. And let's listen to all of this together. I hope you can feel in a computer. Oh, there's another device. I don't want to show them all because it won't take too long, but you have what they called a spatial slicer here. So I've just duplicated some sounds I had here. So it works when the sounds are sustained. And let's put this in solo. So the slicer, the spatial slicer, it's gonna slice my sound and then spatialize it, so it can be really, really interesting. So I can choose the subdivision, so it means the time of the division of the slice, and the probability, when does it appear, and then you still have the azimuth, the elevation, and the spread, which I've automated. I can couple with this. Well, just to bring a little movement into those sounds, and I think it works pretty well. So that's pretty much it. That's a very beautiful collection of tools to make some spatialization work. That's it for my presentation. I hope you liked it, and I hope you have a lot of questions. I'm staying a bit in the chat to answer to you, and I'm really happy to have spent this time with you guys, and I really hope it can inspire you, it can give you some ideas to create more soundscape. Maybe it will I don't know, inspire you to just listen more accurately to your sonic environment, which is sometimes more beautiful than a lot of music. So thank you guys, and see you soon. Bye.